photo this afternoon with our leader coming here to Scarborough, here at the Spa, Jeremy Corbyn. There's going to be a great crowd and he's going to get a real Scarborough and Whitby welcome. So we're going to have a great afternoon. Thank you. Thank you for that marvellous reception. I'm here to welcome this afternoon our leader, Jeremy Corbyn, and also we've got John Prescott with us. And we're going to have a great time. I'm Eric Broadbent, I'm the parliamentary candidate, going to win this seat here in Scarborough and Whitby. It's in the leaflet, we're going to stop all these cuts, but I won't go any further because it's a marvellous afternoon, and what I'm going to do now is introduce John Prescott to say some words, and also then we'll introduce Jeremy. So thank you all for coming, thank you. Thank you, Eric. As I walked along there, one of the fellas said, "You have no chance." I'm saying to him, just read the different manifestos. On this, it's about Labour's values, about the hospitals, the schools, and the health service. That is about decent people getting a treatment of fairness in this country. This one's the blue one. She won't debate it with him. She won't talk about it. She said, just trust me. Let me do it. Well, I tell you what, you don't have to trust her. You've got to look what her record is. So I'm delighted to be here. I want to say one or two words of that because it's Jeremy I want to hear. But here indeed, here in Scarborough, you know the Labour Party made many changes here in Scarborough. It all started here at conferences in Scarborough. I know, I used to come along with my dad's union and get on me swimming trophy. Go in the swimming trunks into the sea. Bloody hell, is the sea still cold? Of course it is. But the heart is warm, and it's about Labour, and I've got to tell you, Scarborough may have started another history of the growth of our movement, the Labour Party, but the changes here of the kind you're faced with. You can either go back to the 1930s with her manifesto, or you can go for the values, the many, not the few. I've got to tell you this. If you think this woman is stability, trust, and today she's already doing another U-turn on her social that she decided, it wasn't Parliament that decided her view. Did you see her on telly, didn't you? She was doing that bit. Oh, please like me, trust me, I'm the person. Well, I've got to tell you, the record doesn't face up to it. This is a woman who told Parliament won't have an election again by 2020. We're already having it. She did a U-turn. This is the woman who told us I'll get emigration down to 100,000. It's 250,000 climbing, and she still now puts it in her manifesto. This is a woman who said, I don't believe in minimum wage. Labour brought it in, and millions of people went back to work with a reasonable wage. Now she wants to adapt it. This woman changes every time, but doesn't want to debate it with this man, does she? Why doesn't she debate with Jeremy? Why shouldn't we have the debate? I tell you what, in this elections, make no mistake about it, this election is so fundamental. Nobody should have the excuse not to actually come out and vote. Everybody has to vote. Whether you're a pensioner, whether you're a student, whether you're a person in hospital, they were the people, they always ruin public services. Now I remember a number of elections, I've been around a while. Do you remember this card I had in 1997? I tell you that card because the Tories, after the 18 years, had ruined it before. Our hospitals were collapsing, there was a big level of homelessness in our society, unemployment was high, and we came in and we promised. Did we reduce the unemployment and get people back to work? Yeah! Bloody hell, there's an election on. Did we actually do that? Talking. Did we rebuild our hospital system? Yeah! It's been run down again by her, right? By her government. So all these charges were made, and something else I looked at. We said we'll reduce the class sizes down to 30. Did we do it? Yeah! Come on. Come on. Who's that barrack in there? Get a grip of it. You've got to vote now, you've got to do it. The reality is we did it. What has happened to class sizes now? Teachers are leaving our schooling. The teachers, surgeons and nurses having to go to food bank. That's what the damn Tories have done to us after 6 years. So this time you couldn't have a better time to actually make a difference. And you have to vote. Go out. Tell them to buy this if you want. Or we'll get you a copy. Read the difference. Those who are in doubt, you have got the biggest political decision to make, and we've got it. And basically, the argument is whether it's policy. We've won hands down, right? And the argument is become leadership. Is this man the honest as it? Despite what the Sun and the press said, he is a man for the many in this country, not the few. And that's what the issue is in this election. To finish on 2 points. I went to school, I failed the 11 plus. And I've had a few inferiority complex ever since. She wants to go back to it. And she'll take the money from the state schools and put them into the private schools and build the grammar schools. That is not what we believe in, that is not fairness. And the other one that swung it for me and for somebody, she's so vicious. Yeah, she's vicious. She wants to turn on all our people, pensioners, hospitals. You know what's up with it? She wants to turn books apart. She wants for sport, have your little drink, sit on your ass, and then tear this box, Freddy the Fox, together. Well, I tell you what, we stopped it before, we'll stop it again. More than this man, and he stood up. He hasn't got into the personal abuse. He said, I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about the pensioners. I want to talk about the children. That's what we're about. That's what the future's about. A fair Britain. So I have great pleasure of the man who will replace this woman as the Prime Minister. Here we have Jeremy.
I come to Scarborough bearing a gift. And it's the gift is Eric for Scarborough and Whitby.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. This is the manifesto that's going to put Jeremy in Parliament and be our next Prime Minister, as was said, for the many, not the few. So.
Eric, thank you. And thank you all for being here today. What a fantastic crowd. And you know what? This, I think, is the 52nd event I've done since this election begun. And you know what? Each rally gets bigger than the last. I can't imagine why that would be. It's obviously the fine weather here in Scarborough. It's obviously the great venue. It's obviously the great beach and the sea. I can't understand why there are not more people swimming, but I've tested the water. But this is a constituency that we want to win. That's why we're here. We want... Thank you very much. We will win it. Is that agreed? Yeah! And Eric's the man to do it. And that's why we're here, and we're travelling all over the country doing these meetings and these rallies. Because we want to put that message out to everybody in every single part of the country, what the choices are in this election. And the choices need to be discussed. Choices need to be debated. Choices need to be put under scrutiny. I have no problem with that. Unfortunately, the leader of the party, whose name she cannot recall, who is also the Prime Minister, continues to decline going into any debate or taking any questions from the public as a whole. I think that is wrong in an election. An election is about debate and is about choice. And today they presented something as if it was a U-turn, which I'm interested in because yesterday I suggested they either do a handbrake or a U-turn or something useful on social care. So it's a kind of a triumph of spin over reality. When you announce you're doing a U-turn, you read what she's actually said, and it's exactly the same as what they said last week, but they're pretending it's something different. The reality is this. There are 1 million people in this country, many of them very frail older people, many with disabilities, learning difficulties, who need social care. And there's a million waiting for it, and because it's not there, because it's inadequate, many cannot be discharged from hospital because there's nowhere for them to go, and too often families have to make enormous sacrifices, and it's unfortunately usually the women who end up giving up work in order to care for people who ought to be cared for by all of us. And so we're not making false promises. What we will do is immediately put in £2 billion to plug the funding gap in the current crisis in the social care. So that those in desperate need do get the care they need and deserve. That's what we will do straight away. And then we will build our NHS, our social care, our mental health services, so they're fit for the needs of the people of this country. We've been reduced to the idea of the corridor nurse in a hospital. We are going through a mental health crisis in this country. A quarter of us will go through some kind of mental health crisis during our lifetime. Being told to wait 6 months before you get an appointment to an expert or somebody who can give you some therapy, while 6,000 mental health nurses have lost their jobs in the NHS. You're looking at a government that's got its priorities totally and completely wrong in comparison to the people of our society. And so whilst they would rather further reduce corporate taxation, further reduce the tax burden on the very wealthiest in our society. We have a different approach, a totally different approach. That is not to place that tax cost on 95% of the people of this country, but to place that tax cost where it should always have been, on the biggest corporations and the wealthiest. And then they have the temerity to say, well, it's all the fault of the young people, or it's all the fault of the old people. It's always somebody else's fault. Well, I tell you what, we're not getting into this game of blaming generations. I'm not blaming the young for being young. I'm not blaming the old for being old. I'm saying to the older generation, you make a fantastic contribution to our society. You don't deserve. You don't deserve the injustice that the WASPy women have been through. You don't deserve to have uncertainty about social care or the National Health Service, and you don't deserve to be leading a lonely life because society is apparently passing you by. What we have to develop is that inclusive approach to our society, where we do fund and guarantee pensions and social care for those who need it. But we also look at the younger generation. Is it the fault of children now going to school that there is insufficient money being paid by the government towards their schools? Is it their fault there was a banking crisis in 2008? Why should head teachers be put through what is frankly the indignity of having to collect money from the parents in order to sustain the school budget? That is simply wrong. Too many of our children are in oversized or supersized classes. Too many of our children are living a life of poverty. Too many of our children are not achieving what they should in primary school, therefore they don't go on to achieve in secondary, therefore they don't achieve their ambitions in life. And a child who doesn't achieve their ambitions in life does not become the doctor, the engineer, the teacher, the nurse, or whatever it is they want to achieve. They obviously lose out individually, of course. But you know what? We all lose. We don't have that doctor, we don't have that engineer, we don't have that nurse, we don't have that teacher. I see spending on education, spending on preschool, spending on secondary, spending on university as an investment for all of us. For all of us. And so, it's very clear, hungry children don't learn very well. And too many of our children turn up to school hungry. Parents relying on food banks, even people in work relying on food banks in modern, low-pay Britain. So, immediately, we will introduce a free school meal for every primary school in England, for every child to get that meal easy. And John and I have just come from Hull. And I did say to the people of Hull that amongst its many fine exports was John Prescott. So thank you, Hull. And we launched our cultural manifesto there. A manifesto which is about creating a culture fund for the whole country to support our local theatres, to support our local museums, and Scarborough, you have that fantastic artistic tradition. The theatres, the music, the entertainment and the creativity that's there. But you know what? In every child there is enthusiasm. In every child there is creativity. There is imagination. Isn't it up to all of us to unlock that imagination? And so, one proposal that I'm very proud of, very, very proud of, is the introduction of a pupil arts premium, so that every child in every school can learn a musical instrument. And then our children to achieve. We want them to go on and get the apprenticeships, get the skills, go on to university, make the best of their lives. But so many are put off by the cost. So many are put off by the debt. So we're going to do a number of things. One, we're bringing back the educational maintenance allowance, so that young people are not deterred from staying on in school or college. Secondly, and it's a big demand and it's a big issue, we've discussed it very carefully and we've costed it as well, equally carefully. We want to end the tuition fee system in our only 15–20% of the young people go to university. I want those figures to rise. I want all of our young people who are able to and benefit from and want to go to university to have that chance. And we all benefit from it. And we will also support those through the return of a maintenance allowance at university. So this election is about all of those things, but it's also about the kind of economy and society we want to live in. 6 million people in modern Britain earn less than the living wage. 1 million are on 0-hours contracts, not knowing from day to day if they're working or not, waiting for that text message, not knowing what their income will be, not knowing if they're going to be able to pay their rent at the end of the week or end of the month. It's simply not right. Why can't we instead have a living wage that is really a living wage? That's why we put the figure in there of £10 per hour as a real living wage. And also rights at work from day one, because we have employment laws in Britain that are frankly inadequate and getting worse under this Tory government. So we put all these things together as an opportunity and a right. But it's also about what we do as a country and with our economy. I'm fed up with the imbalance of investment, fed up with the needs of some parts of the country being left behind. Yeah. When John was in government, he did everything he could to improve devolution, to improve decision making at a local level. And I've talked a lot with him about this, and we are going to develop that. But we're also going to set up a national investment bank which will invest to all parts of the country, will invest in the infrastructure we need, the good quality railway lines, the broadband, the improved transport connections, and be prepared to invest in sustainable, high-tech, cutting-edge technology to strengthen our economy in the future. Because it's the future of everybody that's so important. And so there will be negotiations with the European Union. I understand that. I understand the result of the referendum. I accept the result of the referendum. And I want a Labour government to negotiate tariff-free access to the European market, protection of the rights we've achieved, protection of the position of the EU nationals, so we have a process and a policy that sustains and defends the manufacturing industry jobs we have all over this country that rely on trade with Europe. These are serious times and serious issues. But I tell you what, we're not going to threaten the rest of the world with turning this country into some kind of tax haven on the shores of Europe to threaten everybody else. I want an economy and a society in Britain that doesn't glory in the levels of grotesque inequality in Britain, but instead a government that is determined to deal with inequality, deal with injustice, deal with poverty, deal with all those issues. And it's about the world we leave behind in the future. How we protect our seas, how we protect our forests, how we protect our coastline, how we sustain our natural environment on which we all live. So with this Labour manifesto has been put together very carefully and properly costed. It offers, I believe, something very different to those that's offered by other parties. We offer good public services, we offer good education, we offer a health service worthy of the name. But above all, we offer the idea that every one of us matters. We're young, we're old, we're black, we're white, we're gay, we're straight, we're all kinds of things in society. And you know what? A plain culture gets you nowhere. A culture of inclusion, a culture of respect, a culture of support means, as a society, you become stronger.
Yeah.
It was that great Labour government, before I was born, that gave us the National Health Service after the Second World War, because they believed in the principles of an inclusive, sustainable society. It's the election of 2017, the election of 2017 that says we want to develop our country fit for the 21st century. We don't pass by on the other side in life. We look out for and support each other. So why should we have a government that passes by on the other side to the homeless, to the children who are not properly fed, to the small businesses struggling to survive, to those that want to change and improve their lives and build the strength of our communities? I'm fed up with a government that can only cut expenditure on the National Health Service, cut expenditure on social care, cut expenditure to local government. I'm fed up with that kind of government. I think it's time to do something different. And so, we will be chasing down those who think it's clever to put their money in tax havens. We won't be handing 60 million over to the poorest, to the richest in our society at the expense of the poorest. With Labour, you'll get a government that genuinely works for and cares for all. And I simply say this, it's now coming up to 3:30. At midnight is the last moment to register to vote. Over 2 million people, mainly young people, have already registered since this election was announced. So if any of you here haven't registered to vote, I'm not going to embarrass you by asking you to put your hands up. I'm asking you to go straight to your iPhone or borrow one from the neighbour next to you, get online, do it now, register to vote. Because it's your future. And we receive some criticism in some of the media, I believe. And I believe some of it is sometimes personal against good friends of mine and even myself. But I tell you this, I haven't got time, energy or inclination to get in the gutter with that kind of politics. Because our energies are totally focused on winning this election on June the 8th. So I invite all of you who are watching or listening today, join in our campaign, but I invite all of you to do all the things we always do in elections, where we deliver the pamphlets, we knock on the doors, we talk to people, we encourage them to come out to vote. That is absolutely crucial. But what is also crucial is the atmosphere in which the election is conducted. Thank you very much, that's great. The voice of the future. What is also crucial is that debate, that discussion you have in the cafe, in the pub, on the bus, on the train, anywhere you go, have that discussion. This election is a choice between a party that glories in inequality, that glories in tax relief at the top end, that pretends somehow or other everything's working, when everybody who's on frozen wages, everybody who's waiting at a hospital queue, everybody who's waiting to get decent housing, all those that are waiting for that chance to make the best of their lives. The choice is there. I invite all of you, come together, for the many, not the few. Thank you very much.